Well, this is Bill Binney sitting in for Alex Jones. He's given me a segment here to state my concerns about to you, the American public, of what I feel we need to do in terms of combating and changing the course that our government's taken. And from the arguments the government puts forward, they say they're doing this for security of the people of the United States, and they're doing it for terrorism to try to prevent it. And you have to give up your security, your privacy, for them to be able to do that. And that's just an outright lie, first of all. And secondly, what's really happening by taking in this bulk data, it's really overburdening their analysts in the NSA, CIA, all over the world. And so they can't really stop these events of terrorism, like the bombings in Boston or the shooting in Paris or in Copenhagen or the Fort Hood shooter or any of that, because their analysts are so burdened with data. They use a dictionary select type approach, which is fundamentally a Google approach. That means that when they do their daily polls, they use their dictionary select, and they get like a Google return. Well, that's hundreds of thousands or even a million returns. No analyst could make it through all that data in any day, and the next day they get an equivalent amount. So that means they're making themselves totally dysfunctional. And that's just not true for NSA. That's also true in GCHQ and around the world, because all these governments are adopting the same procedures. Instead of taking a focused approach, which would make a rich environment of content to be able to manage and analyze, so that would make them successful. So fundamentally, they're exposing people to more risk. They're not actually protecting you. They're making it more risky for you. You're losing security because of this procedure they've adopted. So the point is, from my perspective, I keep arguing, and the other NSA whistleblowers and I have made suggestions on how to do this to the government, but the president has not adopted those techniques, and nor have any of the intelligence agencies, simply because there is too much money in this process of doing bulk acquisition of data. That's their motive, to keep having the money flow and keep that going. So there's changing that particular procedure is rather difficult even within government, because this money comes out and goes to corporations that are in the constituent areas of the representatives and senators. So they have a vested interest in also keeping this going. So the only way to do it is to raise up as a public. We have to start standing up as Americans. Americans aren't supposed to sit back and let things happen and let government do what it does. We're supposed to be out there challenging. We have to be participating in our democracy and republic. We cannot sit by and let these things happen and be quiet. If we do, we're going to get this totalitarian state that we're sliding toward right now. I mean, so that's really the basic issue that I have to convey to you, that you need to stand up. Now, how could you do that? You can't sit there and say you don't have any power. You really do have power. And the power is to talk to your analysts, or to your representatives and senators, and complain to them and make sure that this is a major concern to you. And when they come around to give you town meetings and talk to you and to get your vote, stand up and address them and make them publicly come out with a statement of their position on this issue. If you don't, I mean, they're going to continue doing what they are doing right now. They simply say, they're assuming, because now if you're not complaining, they're assuming that you're okay with everything they do, or they feel they can do anything and the country will accept it. And as long as they keep saying things and not telling the truth and exposing what's really going on, they can keep you in the dark and you'll never know. So that's why you have to get up, stand up, challenge them. I mean, after all, they're even addressing the free press we're supposed to have, like with Jim Risen and Jim Rosen of the AP and various other reporting journalists, investigative journalists. They're shutting down their sources of information and keeping them quiet. Well, that's destroying a free press. So the free press is supposed to be interrogating the government to see what they're doing, so they can inform the public what the government is after and what they're really doing. Well, that's falling totally apart. I mean, look at Jim Rosen. In his case, they had him under subpoena for any number of years, trying to get him to tell the source of his information in the books and things he's published. Well, under the press rules, he had the right to keep the sources confidential. So they're attempting to destroy a free press, which is the next step in going to a totalitarian state. So if we don't stand up, Americans, we're gonna lose our country. We're gonna lose the process that we hold dear, that at least the republic I've had when I grew up, and that my father and his father before him had. I mean, we're going to lose it because we can't trust We cannot trust the government in what they're saying. They, in fact, have been deliberately keeping us in the dark as to what's going on, and keeping a lot of Congress in the dark too. So by doing this complaining to the Congress, you have at least an opportunity to change the process and the sequence of things and where it's headed. Short of that, I mean, you have to fire everybody in Congress. That's the only way to get rid of. You have to get rid of the bums, because they're not living up to their oath of office, which is to protect and defend the Constitution.
We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.